As a rabbi, I often speak about how Jewish wisdom gives meaning to recent events. Manish Tana Hashanah Hazeh, why should this year be any different from all other years? But it is different. Each of us are struggling with the ongoing challenge and trauma of this moment. The pandemic has not passed, and distress and damage continue. Iris McAlpine said it well. This year has asked so many contradictory things of all of us. Fight for what you believe in, but surrender to what's beyond your control. Be hypervigilant, but just relax. Stay hopeful and grieve. So many contradictory things. And we're exhausted. And we don't even know what else could happen or what this next year will hold. So what do we do? How will all of this change us? Well, Shana Tova, I'll see you next year. We have come to this high holidays this year, and things are different. Prayer feels different. Reflecting on our lives feels different. The words and melodies of the high holidays are the same every year, but we're different. These are the same words and songs generations before prayed to help them through their struggles. Our prayers of this season help us to reflect upon what is rather than what we wish had been or will be. They show us an unvarnished, often painful truth that our reality is not always the reality of our choosing, that we are not always in control, and that nevertheless we have the strength to kindle the light that will shine our path forward. So many people have said to me, Rabbi, I just want things to go back to normal. Normal. Do you remember normal? It was a time when we could go to our favorite restaurants and travel with ease and go shopping and come to temple and celebrate joyous moments with others. We lament our loss of normal. Tradition tells us that the prophet Jeremiah wrote the book of Lamentations. And after the destruction of Jerusalem and the forced exile of our people, the book of Lamentations begins, Echa, how? How could this have happened? And the book concludes with the same lament that we have to go back to the good old days. Chadesh Yameinu Kakedem. Renew our days as in the past. And the uncomfortable truth is that normal may not be a place that we can get back to. And in the brilliance of Hebrew, the word kakedem, which means as in the past, is also a verb, mitkadem, which means to advance and progress, to look towards the future. Echa and Chadesh Yameinu Kakedem are prayers that simultaneously express our question, how can we be in this position? And our deep desire to get back to what was good in our lives while moving towards what we can yet become. What is happening right now will change us. Things are hard. Personally, I'm struggling with this too. Anna and our kids are struggling with all of this, and our parents and our families are struggling, and things may get even more difficult. It's so intensely tempting to cling on to the hope that things aren't what they seem, that the numbers of dead and sick aren't really so bad, that it's just a bad cold or flu, that life will move on as usual once there is a vaccine. And yet we know things, well, they're not quite so simple. The pandemic has exacerbated pre-existing social and economic inequities. It has furthered the misinformation age and the cancel culture wars. It has weakened community institutions and our sense of trust in authorities. It has strained personal relationships, and it has made us reconsider how good our past normal really was. Post-pandemic will not be a return to normal. It will be the new normal. And I have compassion for people who want to avoid and sometimes even try to deny this painful and complicated truth. It is understandable that so many people are struggling to accept this and even see this new reality, who say either in words or deeds, Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem, renew our days as in the past, or said another way, let's just pretend that nothing has changed, because the grief that comes with acknowledging our losses is just so much to handle. So we do our best to take care of ourselves. We go on walks and exercise and meditate and pray. We read less news and more novels. We talk with a therapist or commiserate with good friends. We bake bread and watch good movies. We go on, trying to make our lives as normal as possible. It's extremely difficult to balance taking care of ourselves while not ignoring the world around us. And this is the hidden message of Kekedem. We must lean into our remarkable adaptability and desire for normalcy without allowing it to become blinding denial. The Amim Noraim, these days of awe, remind us that we, who like to be in control of our lives, are never fully in control. Unatana Tokef Kedushat Hayom, who shall live and who shall die, who by fire and who by plague. Well, these words hit particularly close to home this year. We're never fully in control. But the holidays encourage us not to wallow in despair at our lack of control, but to use that awareness as an invitation to grow, to learn, and to evolve. My teacher and friend, Rabbi David Stern, recently said to a group of rabbis, we live in a world where loved ones suffer, where our kids struggle, where pandemics come and hate spreads, where not everyone can afford to move to higher ground when life's storms come. Any faith worth its name has to reckon with the reality of this world. Faith is not saying that the pain will magically disappear. Faith is not the Pollyannish assurances of victory when agony is pervasive. Faith is about the discovery of our internal resources that we have yet to tap into. Faith is trust that we will not be alone. By acknowledging the realities of our painful challenges, we can make space to discover our reserves of inner strength, the resilience that helps us to move forward and find meaning in this moment. We've done it before. From Assyrian, Babylonian, and Roman persecutions, to exile and the Crusades and pogroms, to the Inquisitions and expulsions, to the Holocaust, our people have experienced plenty of dark and painful moments. And in each of those times, just as we asked Eicha, how has this happened? We also said, Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. We will renew our days with the best of the past as we lean in towards the future. Through each trial, we have chosen to live life anew, to write poetry and music, prayers and rituals, to ponder philosophical questions, and to live with joy and celebration. As Rabbi Class spoke about last night, we certainly see this resilience in our congregation. It is the volunteers calling to check in on people. It is the meal deliveries and financial support. It is the flexibility and creativity of B'nai Mitzvah families and wedding couples. It is the new parents who bring a child into the covenant, the ultimate expression of hope for the future. And it is the people who receive the hardest diagnoses and have to change their perspectives of what we hope for quality of life that isn't painful, or the ability to say thank you, or I love you, or goodbye. Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem, we don't stop living our lives. We figure out how to have moments of celebration and joy, and to remember and to grieve our losses, even if it's over Zoom. Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem is an invitation to consider how we can evolve and change towards the future. We may not be able to envision life on the other side of this just yet, and that's okay. We may not be very happy about this moment. We may be sad and angry at what could have or should have been. But Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem is a question. What am I being invited to learn? Or said another way, what do I want to remember about this moment? What do I want my community to remember, my kids to remember? What role do I want to have played in this slice of history? And by asking these questions, we will find open and creative answers. We will find our resilience. We will bring meaning to an incredibly difficult time. Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. We are the bridge that links the past, the present, and the future. We will face the pain, and we will discover meaning, wisdom, and wholeness along the way. Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. May we renew our days, and may this be a better and sweeter year. Amen.